Welcome to FoundHer Rising, the podcast for women founders in wellness coaching and consulting who are ready to build businesses that create freedom, impact, and income. I'm your host, Christine Hakkola, business coach, former psychotherapist, and mentor to women scaling service-based businesses. Today, I'm joined by Susan Henriques, a psychologist and founder of New Horizons Child and Adolescent Psychology Services in Oakville, Ontario. She supports children, adolescents, and families through assessment and therapy, helping parents and educators understand learning, behavior, and mental health. Susan, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Christine. I'm really honored to be here today.
Oh, I'm so excited to have you. We go way back. We've known each other for many years, and I always cherish the moments that we get to connect. And I'm so excited for you to share your story and connect further with you today. So let's go back, maybe not to the very, very beginning, but you choose to tell us a little bit about what was happening in your life at the time when you decided to start New Horizons.
Okay, yes. So this goes back to about 2019. I was working full-time at the school board, and I continued to work part-time as a school psychologist.
You do, yes.
I continue to do that. So back then I was needing a change from the public sector and doing primarily a job that was assessment focused. Okay. My first step was to take on a position at a family health team, actually.
In addition to your full-time role at the school?
No. So I cut back the school position.
Smart.
By half.
Very smart.
On this family health team role half-time. That, in hindsight, was a really important stepping stone for me to go into private practice.
Yeah. What do you feel like it gave you?
Because nobody teaches you how to run a business.
Right.
Yes. I've heard this so many times, right? So at the private practice, family health team, I was having a secretary. It was appointment-based, working with other mental health clinicians and physicians. I had my own office. Patients came to see me. There was a waiting room. It felt very much
like first-hand exposure to how it was run.
Exactly.
Smart.
And in terms of clinical training and growth, it was huge.
That's fantastic.
So I learned a lot and I became very confident. I was seeing much more complex cases at the family health team than I did at the school board. I was given that responsibility and that onus. It was actually a job share position. So my colleague was also very experienced, and I learned a lot from her too.
Wow. You just really immersed yourself in the perfect environment.
Yeah, I was really blessed.
That's
but
amazing.
After about 5 years there, the role was assessment based.
Yeah.
And I felt very much the need to go beyond assessment. But to use assessment as a tool to move beyond. And what I mean by that is oftentimes the assessment is just the starting point for children and families. They're given an answer to some of the issues they've been having. And I wanted to carry those results forward with the same clients. And that wasn't the role there. And it's not the role there in the school board. It's pretty much assessment driven.
You wanted to be more hands-on with the treatment and supporting them through recovery.
Exactly.
Okay.
So I really craved to do that a lot. And at the school board, where I was originally, because I've since changed school boards, and both school boards have been fantastic. I want to preface all this by saying that the school board really provided me with the solid foundations of my career. I was surrounded by amazing supervision and mentorship and professional development. Like it was huge. I highly recommend it.
Sounds like you got all the clinical skills that you needed to feel really confident about stepping into your own business, maybe aside from the business stuff, but you picked up a lot of that at the family health team.
Yeah. So the itch came.
Then what happened?
The itch came, and I call it the midlife shift too.
Okay. I can resonate.
Yeah. I was at that point in 2019, about 48 years old. And I honestly, the shift needed to happen for me for several reasons, Christine. It wasn't just the client work. I wanted more flexibility in my week. I wanted more flexibility in my year of when I was going to be taking time off. I wanted to move my body more. I'm going to be honest with you. This might resonate with some of your listeners.
Yeah.
Our jobs are very sedentary.
For a lot of us, they are, yes.
Right. And especially in assessment, we sit and test. And I honestly, physically, I actually developed heavy leg syndrome.
Wow.
I would get up from a clinic chair and my legs would feel very heavy.
Oh my gosh.
So when I made the pivot, and by the way, I was moonlighting private practice for a while. This happened over a 4-year period.
Wow. So, it's a nice slow transition for you.
Yes. So the term change happens at the speed of safety. That was my
very true for you.
That was my mantra for me. I know some people take big leaps and they leave everything and start something 100%. That was not me. Change is not easy for me.
Talk to me about some of the fears or concerns that you had that specifically led you to shifting gears into private practice so slowly. Like, what were you afraid was going to happen if you took that leap too soon or at a pace that you weren't comfortable with?
Well, remember, I was working for the school board for 17 years.
So wow. A lot of security, safety there.
Security, right? Raising a family. So I took calculated risks because I knew that I was going to be okay. And you know, when my husband said to me, listen, just try it. If it doesn't work out, you can go back to the school board.
Right. You had that safety net. You hadn't left. Right. Yeah. The risk isn't all that great.
So I kind of had that safety blanket, right? And not everybody has that.
Yeah.
So I took the leap. And so after 5 years at the family health team, which was, by the way, also a wonderful working environment. I love working with people. In 2023, I took there was a lot of change. And it caused a lot of anxiety, to be honest with you, for me.
I can imagine. It's a big risk to go into your own business, especially when you're coming from an environment where you have that safety net.
Yeah. So it was very exciting. And I had at that time had my own office space half the week. That in 1 or 2 months, we had launched my daughter off to university. I had had my website redesigned. I had incorporated my business.
So much change all at once.
Online platform for billing.
Speaking of that, what were the biggest differences when you made the shift from the school board to the family team and then spent more time kind of putting your energy and focus on building your own private practice? What were the biggest shifts that you started to notice right away for you, both personally and professionally, in putting your focus more in running your own business?
The shifts. Okay. So I think a big shift for me was the fact that I was running a business. Yeah.
No longer not just a therapist, because that's a full-time job in itself, but now you had 2 jobs running your own business as well.
Yeah. So mindset of I'm not just a clinician anymore. I'm now a business owner.
Yeah.
And it was very exciting. This whole journey has been a huge passion project. I don't think it's for everybody, but my brain needed it. My brain responded really well to this.
Yeah.
Creativity. I listened to a lot of podcasts. I spoke to coaches. You know, I had a couple of calls with you. Just very instrumental and transformational. So the business minds. I do have a little story, actually, of what kind of propelled this. I had an office half of the week, and I wasn't in there because it was, I think, one day that I wasn't in the office. And so I had advertised the space out to be rented to another clinician. So a clinician came to see me, and a lovely lady. And so she sat down in the room next to me, looking at the room. And I was just learning a little bit about her. And I learned that she was actually looking for a room for one of her interns to use.
Oh, interesting.
So here I am thinking, so you're using my office for one of your interns to grow the project.
There's some business potential here, Susan.
And she was lovely. She literally looked at me and said, you need to grow.
Wow.
Because she could see the field I was in and what I was doing. And it was,
and the potential was there.
I'm talking about it today. She looked at me in the eye and told me that. And nobody ever had.
Yeah. What did that do for you? Like that moment?
I
went
home to my husband and said, that's it. I got to do something.
I got to grow.
I literally told. Right? And you've said the same things to me. Susan, you're keeping small. You know, I've heard it over and over again. So I think that was a big one for me, is the fact that I'm now running a business.
It's amazing. I want to, if we can just put a pin for a moment into the ways that you've grown, because I want to hear all about that and dive into it.
Yeah.
But before they go there, you had mentioned to me previously that there was a point, I think it was in a January, I don't know if it was last January, the one before, where you felt like you got in over your head in a certain way, like things just weren't working the way that you wanted them to. And that you really had to take a step back and shift up your schedule to make private practice work for you. Do you remember that part of our conversation?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's before I took that big leap to expand.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Say a little bit about what was going on for you that made what you were doing unsustainable, and I know part of the shift was coming into private practice more fully, but what were some of the other shifts that you had to make to really protect yourself and your boundaries?
Okay. So if I was working full time in the public sector and I was thinking about transitioning, expanding my private practice.
Yeah.
I needed the space, the office space to do so.
Yeah.
Right. So that was a big shift. Like I needed the physical space. And that was one thing for me as a psychologist, that the physical space that I was going to be working in was so important, Christine. So I don't know if this resonates exactly with some of your listeners, but, you know, in the public sector, you have offices that can seem dry or clinical. You know, you don't have big cozy couches, you have plastic chairs. It wasn't working for me anymore.
I can tell by the decor behind you, right? For those that are watching this visually, you can see just like the warmth and the comfort of the space you've created for yourself. And your life. Yes.
Right?
You didn't have that in the corporate sector.
It was hard. It's hard to keep doing that. And after so many years, I thought, I'm done.
Yeah. So it wasn't just the bigger logistics, like you mentioned earlier, like time freedom and control over your schedule. And, you know, some of the more common things we talk about that are benefits and can also be hardships, but are mainly the benefits that draw one into running their own business. But for you, it was about control about some of the other things too, that like being able to get up more throughout the day and being in charge of your own office environment and really being able to have the freedom to create the space that you wanted to serve your clients in. Like those were really big pieces for you.
Big pieces for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Amazing.
And the timing that you said, like the time freedom and financial, like control over my financial future was also really exciting for me.
Yeah. So that shift from the school board to the family practice to your own private practice, like took many years for you. And it sounds like since you've stepped into that, a lot of things have unfolded in succession and perhaps a bit more rapidly than that shift. So you're not just doing one-on-one in your private practice. You've got a few other ventures happening. Tell us, like, what else is going on today? What all do you have happening in your business?
So I've grown my business to a solopreneur, to a small group practice.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know if you knew that.
I read something in your materials that you submitted, but we haven't spoken about it yet. Right? I'm really excited. Tell me about it.
So I was getting, requests for service that I couldn't take, right?
Because you were full. I
was full. And so in the meantime, I'm listening to podcasts and learning how people are doing this type of thing. And again, I took small step-by-step growth changes. And I hired two wonderful consultants who do assessments with me.
Oh my goodness.
And
amazing.
They are very experienced. I've known them for years. I'm really lucky in that I hired two people that I know very well. Yeah. So I'm very lucky. And fantastic. That was for assessment. I've also hired a child therapist.
Wow.
To take on some of the therapy clients. Now, all four of us are part-time in the practice.
Oh my goodness. What an interesting model.
So it works beautifully. We're all thriving with it.
Oh, I love this. And so is that the bulk of it? You've got one-on-one, you've got your clinicians doing assessment and therapy. Is that what your business is looking like today?
Yes.
Yes? Yes. And what would you say is the best part? What are you loving the most about your business as it is?
I love arriving to my office. I love providing this space for my clients. I love having 2 mornings a week that are for me. I do often use those mornings for some work, but for movement, I've started exercising. I've started weightlifting. I have a personal trainer.
Good for you.
Has taken like the front seat.
Yeah.
I love working with a team.
Mm-hmm.
Not just Susan at the holiday dinner, it's Susan with a few other people.
Right. Well, and that's one of the fears of going into our own business. I often hear the fear of just being alone, being in a silo, but it sounds like you have taken steps to counter that and actually just built a team around you within your own business. How smart.
Exactly. Yes.
What's been challenging? Like either what's challenging currently or things you faced as you were making the shift into private practice and growing your group. What are some of the things that either you didn't expect were going to be challenging, or that you find you have to kind of constantly, I want to say balance, although I know that's a very fluid thing. It's like, what I'm really getting at is that you've built something beautiful, and I very rarely see it just like it's good forever. It requires like the constant hands on the reins to keep the boundaries, to keep the good things, to say no to the things that don't work. What have those things been for you? What are the things that have, tempted to pull you off course or been challenging, or that you've had to navigate unexpectedly?
Yeah, I know. And I think you're going to ask this later about systems, right?
I might. We'll see where it goes.
That's where I think this question is for me. Systems have been the lifeline.
Yeah, say more.
I didn't always have the best systems because I was on my own, but as the business grew, I really had to be very structured in how I was going to manage my time and using time blocking.
Okay.
I work at the school board 2.5 days a week, so I can't touch that time. And so I've been very intentional. I've asked for help. One of my associates is doing admin help for the business for me, which has been instrumental. So taking the help, offloading some of the admin work, because I would not have the time for all of that.
Yeah. Yeah. You'd be stretched too thin.
And even so, the work does, bleed into my evenings. Maybe it's a little bit on the weekends, but it's pretty good. And it's come a long way. Yeah. So I only do this within this certain time frame, this within this certain time frame, and telling my team what my boundaries are.
Yeah.
And respecting theirs too.
Before we keep going, I want to say something. If you're listening to this and thinking, oh, I'm in that season right now, I'd love to talk to you. FoundHer Rising isn't about polished success stories. It's about real growth. The hiring decisions, the revenue plateaus, the identity shifts that happen when your business starts stretching you. If you're building something meaningful in wellness, coaching, or consulting, and you're willing to have an honest conversation about what scaling actually looks like, apply to be a guest. The link's in the show notes. I'd love to meet you. Okay, back to the episode. Yeah. Would you say that's been like the most important part for you of shifting not just into private practice, but building a bigger business, is this being conscious of how you're spending your time, what's on your plate, putting in systems and delegating so that you don't, I call it becoming the bottleneck, but so that you don't end up doing all the things. Has that been one of the most important pieces for you?
I 100% agree with that. It's very important, because if you don't, and loving a private practice like I do, it'll just bleed into everything. And at the end of the day, I have to go home to, my family, right? Yeah. Who don't want to see me on my computer all the time. And they see me on my computer a bit. Yeah. I'm very well, it sounds
like you're doing pretty well. What else? Are there any other pieces that you find yourself navigating like that either, infringe on your time or try to push you off course? Like, what other demands have come up unexpectedly that you've had to navigate, or maybe that you anticipate navigating?
Well, when business presents itself, there's always an urgency to take it and to respond quickly.
Yes, I imagine, especially as you get known, people want more from you, want more support.
So being mindful to just spread it out. So I'm going to be honest with you. In fact, now that you mention this, last fall, I think I burnt out a bit. I took on too much, especially at the beginning, because, you're expanding and you don't know what your financials are going to look like. So you take too much on. And then last January, I said, nope, not doing that ever again. I'm good. Yeah. This is
you noticed it quickly.
It's going to be.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things, taking too much on.
Yes. I noticed that show up constantly for folks that I work with, for women business owners in particular. One of the specific times in the growth of a business where I see it most likely to happen is when a business starts to expand and we either bring on contractors or we launch new offerings or new programs, or we try something new and the business becomes a little unstable for a while. Sometimes money has to go out before the money comes in with the new offering, and it can create a sense of fear and security. So then naturally we do the things that are comfortable, which usually involves more time and more work. So we just accidentally start spreading ourselves too thin because we're taking a risk in one way and we're trying to compensate by creating that stability, but in so doing stretches us a little too far and can actually make things worse.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I can see that.
What's your experience of that? Is that kind of naming what happened for you, or how do you see it?
Yeah, so I'm very mindful in how much I take on, you know, and I can sometimes hear your voice going, Susan, you're keeping small. But I just can't grow at this moment. Now, I know the growth is inevitable. It's going to happen. It might happen when I retire from the school board.
Slow and steady. That's the pace, though. Right?
Because there's a whole demand on a person's energy, on their executive functions, on the possibility of burnout. Like, why did I do this in the first place? I did this to have more control, to have more time in my life, to not be 9 to 5. Like, I wanted this for more fluidity. So I'm keeping all that in mind.
Yeah. It's one of the things I appreciate most about you in general. And also, you know, I've consistently seen this in our conversations over the years, is how focused you are on why you're doing this. And even when things pull you to the side, right, even though you might get pulled off temporarily, how quick you are to notice and come back and stay true to why you're doing this.
Yes.
I'm curious, like, how has that shown up, or how have you had to grow in your mindset or as a leader as you've taken on other clinicians in your practice?
Yeah. So I know other people, you've talked about this before, the relinquishing of the control.
Yes.
Right? Because it was just the Susan practice before, and it was how I did my work, right?
Yeah.
So the relinquishing of the control, and also sharing with my clinicians what our mission statement is, what our vision is. Right. And our integrity is everything. Our business is our integrity. It's what we go by. Right. So the hard part was that part, and them learning that, you know, we respond to our clients in a very compassionate, timely way. We are heard. We respond to their needs as best as we can. We are there for them. We're like very direct, what should I say, present.
Yeah. Well, and that's you. And it sounds like one of the ways that you've handled growing as a leader and bringing people onto your team is figuring out ways to communicate your standards, to communicate your boundaries, and share those with people who are willing to uphold them with you.
Yes, exactly. And I think my team is very reassured in knowing that I have compassion for them.
Yeah.
Right. I support them in their work. That we do have a standard for sure. And they're growing along with me. It's very exciting.
This is such a great example of a topic that comes up often in my coaching work when I'm working with clients. Is this, sometimes folks come in with this notion that in order to be a good leader or to hire someone or to delegate tasks, they just have to let go, right? And as we know, letting go is a part of it, but the letting go is actually not what comes first, right? The building of trust is. Sometimes we think it's the other way around. I've got to let go and trust. No. We build trust and then we let go. And yes, it's an iterative process, but some degree of trust has to be there in terms of making sure that this is the right person for the right role, right? That we feel connected and trusting of them. And then that trust is grown along with the ability of us to let go of control because we trust the work in that person's hands. That's
right. You just said the word trust, which is, I think, what I was trying to convey.
Yeah, you got right there.
And it's been, I've had a couple of my first 2 therapists that I hired didn't stay as long as I wanted them to, right? And then by the third, I was kind of communicating, the plan is for you to stay longer, right? To grow.
Yes. You just got clear about what you were looking for. Amazing. Amazing. So Susan, I have to know what's next, right? I know that your vision evolves slowly, right? At the pace that is right for you and your business. But where do you see this heading in the next several years? What would be amazing? What's your dream for New Horizons?
So for now, Christine, I'm very excited in sitting in this machine, honestly, that my practice has turned into. And I don't know what else to call it. It's a machine that kind of,
I see that as a good thing.
It's running on its own.
Yes.
It's, I've created, I think, a brand that I'm growing in the community as well. And I'm really relishing in that at the moment.
I love that. I love your ability to just be present in what you've built and enjoy it.
Because I've provided an opportunity for the 3 people that I employ. And that in itself is, I'm just so proud of that. Sometimes I think, oh my gosh, I've created an opportunity and an income for 3 other people with this beautiful practice. Yeah. So I'm really happy to, at that point right now, I would like to grow. It's going to be inevitable. I would like to hire probably another couple of people. I would like to run some groups.
Amazing.
So I have a vision for sure. I just don't necessarily have the time in my schedule yet. And I think I'm going to be delegating a little bit more in the near future. So I may have someone do the actual testing for me, which I know is a model that many people use. I haven't embraced that model yet, but I might in the near future.
Especially when you find someone you can trust.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, how do you see that shift unfolding? Like, do you see yourself staying at the school as you bring on more clinicians and grow groups, or at some point in the future, do you see this becoming full time, or is that just kind of we'll see what happens and cross that bridge?
Yeah.
Then?
So for now, it's going to stay the same. I really enjoy working in the schools as well.
It's amazing. I love how you balance it all.
The practice is beautiful. It's amazing, but it's a bit of a hustle too. It can be. And so when I get in my car and drive to my school, I show up and the job is there. I don't have to acquire the clients. Like it's kind of it's secure. It's peaceful.
It's easier in a different way. A different kind of stress.
So I'm really excited that I've built a business that is going to carry me and my associates forward into the future so that this is something I can lean on when I retire from the school board.
Amazing.
And get a bit older and seasoned and continue to do this work. Like, I don't think it's going to be ending anytime soon.
Yeah. I want to, probably my last question for you, Susan, is I want for you to share your wisdom with listeners. We've had a couple of conversations like this on the show where folks are straddling the line between maintaining their business as is because they've built something really amazing, or just consciously growing it really slowly, so that they don't lose the essence of what they've built, the goodness of it, versus sometimes feeling pressure to scale or grow because that's what we see everybody else doing, or that's what we think we're supposed to do. And I'm just curious, like what you would say to somebody listening who's straddling that point. They've built something great and they're trying to think about, like, how should I grow? Should I grow? Like growth for the sake of growth versus consciously choosing the next steps in your business. Like, what advice do you have for someone who's at that cusp?
Yeah, my advice would be to look at how the growth is going to be beneficial and look at the cost of that growth on your time, on your stress level. Like, is your business sustainable, and is the business going to grow on its own, or how much of your involvement is going to be required in that growth? Because if you hire, like if you grow by hiring someone, how competent is that person going to be to take on the work themselves and not rely on you so much? So I would definitely say consider the growth.
Yeah, just the impacts of it, both positive and negative.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I once, I'll share, because I think it's relevant. I had a mentor once tell me that, and I talk about this a lot with my clients, is that when our business hits a certain point, it kind of takes on a life of its own. Like it becomes its own entity separate from us.
Yeah.
Right? Not unlike, I think, having children, but that's for another conversation. But my mentor said to me, every business has like kind of a set point where it functions best. And not every business is meant to grow infinitely. Not every business is meant to be a 7-figure or an 8-figure business. Different businesses have different set points. Profitability and gross revenue, whereby the size of the business, like at that financial level, is actually where it's going to be most profitable, most sustainable. And I'm just curious, like, what your thoughts are on that sentiment.
That is a very interesting question. I think right now it's running really well because we're meeting client needs in a timely way. I don't have long wait lists. I'm very happy about that. So when someone reaches out for service, we can see them within a relatively short time frame to meet their needs.
Yeah.
Okay. So in this line of work, when people need help, they don't want help in 6 months or a year. So we're at a sweet spot where in terms of the marketing and where I'm at on Google, it's just a nice space. I'm not getting bombarded with queries. We're able to help people within a very reasonable, healthy amount of time. In this field, when people want help, they want it yesterday or right away, right?
Yeah.
And so New Horizons has always been able to provide that.
That's amazing. It sounds like whether that sweet spot stabilizes or whether it continues to grow slowly, like consciously or not, you're very in tune with that.
Very
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Susan, this has been such a pleasure, and I could just keep talking to you for ages, but we're going to have to wrap up at some point. I would love for you to share, for any listeners listening who want to learn more about New Horizons, who you are, what you do, what's the best way to get in touch with you?
So you can visit my website, www.newhorizonspsychology.ca, and send me an email through there. That would be the best way to get in touch with me. We're on Facebook too. I'm on LinkedIn.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your just like really balanced, peaceful journey. I know it hasn't been perfect and there's been challenges, but I so enjoy just the clarity that you bring and connecting with you. So thank you.
Thank
you, listener, for tuning in to FoundHer Rising. If today's episode resonated with you, follow the show, share it with another founder, and leave a quick review. It helps more women find these conversations. You can connect with me on LinkedIn or learn more at hakkolahorizons.com. Until next time, keep rising and keep building the business that gives you freedom to live, lead, and create on your terms.